Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is ARIF ZIKRI bin Zani Effendi. I'm from class DLS1A and my matrix number is 23 DLS21 F1015.
My name is Muhammad AIMAN bin Shafi'i and my matric number is 23 DLS21 F1003 from class DLS1A.
My name is SYAFIKAH binti Muhammad Nurman and my matric number is 23DLS21F1073 and I'm from DLS1A.
My name is MUSTAQIM and I am from DLS1A and my matric number is 23DLS21F1071.
My name is Muhammad Alif Danial bin Syamsul. My matric number is 23DLS21F1065 and I'm from DLS1A.
First of all, what is logistics? Logistics is a movement of things from the point of origin to the point of consumer to maximize the requirement of customer. Logistics also is the part of supply chain management and supply chain engineering that plans, implement, control the efficient, effective forward, reverse flow, storage of goods, services, and related information between the point of origin and the point of consumption to meet customer requirement. Complexity of logistics can be modeled, analyzed, visualized, and optimized by dedicated simulation software. The minimization of the use of resources is a common motivation in all logistic fields. A professional working in the field of logistics management is called a logistician. Thank you. What? Competitors working together to serve a shared consumer is referred to as collaborative logistics. It can also refer to combining rival providers, such as trucking firms, into a single truckload in order to increase utilization, have return loads, and so on. The term collaboration is delivered from the notion of competition mediated by a neutral third party.
Why? The most important factor is cost effectiveness. The average saving from traditional outsourcing to a non-asset-based carrier-neutral company or 4PL is 10%. Saving of up to 20% can be achieved through collaborative outsourcing. You may also expect a 5 to 10% increase in service standard at the shop.
Who? In France, Henkel will with 3 additional FMCG firms as well as a logistics supplier. Collaborative logistics is also used by Heinz, Procter & Gamble, Nestle Waters, Colgate-Palmolive, and Kimberly-Clark. In France, GlaxoSmithKline, Henkel Cosmetics and Colgate have formed a partnership. These leading companies have been sharing their experiences of collaboration across the supply chain. So, what they get and they learn from that great collaboration. What they get and learn is sharing knowledge, experience, and expertise, consolidating goods flows, sharing transport vehicle and network capacity, sharing logistic infrastructure, and the last one, sustainability objective drive collaboration.
How? Data is required initially. Retailers or suppliers are both good place to start. Today, Paul is speaking with a few stores that work with the major computer hardware vendors. Retailers must reach a minimum sales volume or their contracts will be terminated. The distributors suggest to the large hardware manufacturer that coordination could be necessary.
Now, I will talk about importance of supply chain collaboration. First, lower inventory level and higher inventory turns. Second, lower transportation and warehousing costs. Third, lower out of stock level. Fourth, shorter lead times. Next, improvise customer service metric. And the last, visibility into customer demand and supplier performance.
Let's examine the key supply chain trends that are affecting operation management today. First, convergence of physical and digital. Unified commerce, e-commerce dominance, and the convergence of B2B and B2C are all creating the need for the physical and digital supply chain to become synonyms. If either side become disconnected and the two don't match, your ability to manage the complex supply chain quickly falls apart. I believe leading distributors and retailers will build a complete virtual model of their supply chain in the coming years to assist in the forecasting, modeling, and effective planning. Number 2, transition to the cloud. With the growth of the digital supply chain, there is an increasing need for all points of the supply chain, whether they are owned by you, a vendor, or a partner, to be tightly interconnected. This is becoming more and more difficult if your supply chain system do not reside in the cloud. My advice is to get on board with the supply chain trend more quickly. Private supply chain platform will soon be a thing of the past. The cloud-connected supply chain is the way to go. Number 3, agility to support omnichannel everywhere. A supply chain that can turn on a dime and adapt to rapid multi-factor chain will be vital as your customer demand continue to grow in complexity. Without agility throughout the entire supply chain, it will be impossible for you to offer each customer their own personalized experience. This is an expectation that is becoming the norm for both B2B and B2C. Preparing for this supply chain trend of agility will require software providers to break down barriers and make intricate change to all components of a supply chain solution set. On the flip side, software users will need to level, embrace, and learn their solution at a depth beyond today's user level. Number 4, customer awareness of sustainability. Let's face it, next day or same day, delivery has an impact on our environment. As calculated by time for change, the effect of the CO2 emission of airplane are 2 to 3 times higher compared to the emission on the ground because airplane release the CO2 in high altitude into the atmosphere, where they do much more harm. Consumers are slowly beginning to realize the consequence their fast delivery demand have on the planet. Therefore, we will see a rise in company offering more sustainable choice to the customer. Number 5, focus on labor. The supply chain workforce is changing. Warehouse workers have different expectations than before, and their willingness to perform certain tasks are constantly evolving. In addition to labor shortage and rising costs, it will especially important for companies to focus on how they manage their people. Supply chain of the future must have solutions that adapt to the need of the warehouse worker as opposed to the other way around. Automation is solution to labor challenge, and I expect it to be much more pervasive in the coming years.
So I want to talk about the way drive value. So firstly, collaborate in areas where you have a solid footing. Companies often tend to use collaboration as a way to fill gaps in their own capabilities. In practice, the more successful collaboration builds on strength rather than compensating for weakness. A manufacturer seeking to collaborate with a major retailer in order to improve its own forecasting performance, for example, will have little to gain from access to the retailer's point of sale data unless it has the in-house analytical capability to make effective use of that data. Similarly, there is little point in entering cooperation to boost sales if any increase demand is likely to run into manufacturing capacity constraints. Understand your category like never before so that your organization can release the full potential of its supplier investment while delivering products that are consistent and of high quality. How? By leveraging the wisdom of your supplier to be blunt, they know more than you do. Tap into that knowledge to gain a solid understanding of the product, market categories, suppliers' capabilities, and shifting dynamics in the industry. If a buyer does not understand that these areas deeply, no amount of cooperation will empower a supplier to help your company innovate as well as optimize costs and resource. Potential collaborators should also be sure that have the right supporting infrastructure in place in advance of any cooperation effort. Is top management committed to the cooperation process and ready to offer support over the long term? In the in-house information technology IT system, we boost enough to facilitate real-time data sharing if required. Secondly, turn win-lose situation into win-win opportunities with the right benefit sharing model. Some collaboration promise equal benefits for both parties. If, for example, a manufacturer and a retailer collaborate to improve optimized product mix, both could expect to benefit from the resulting increase in sales. In other cases, however, the collaboration might create as much value overall that the benefit could fall more the one partner than the others. Here's one real-life example. A retailer and manufacturer will able to reduce overall logistic costs between factory and store by cutting out the manufacturer's distribution centers and treating the retailers' distribution network as one integrated supply chain from manufacturing to store shelves. However, the retailer's supply chain executive struggle to gain acceptance for the idea for the leadership because it results in the retailer carrying a far larger financial of logistic costs. Rather than shying away from such asymmetric collaboration, smart companies can make them work by agreeing on more sophisticated benefit sharing models. This can come in the form of discount or price increase to more fairly share increased margin or cost reduction, or they can involve compensation in a part of the relationship. For example, when one retailer cooperates with a manufacturer on the CO branded product line, the manufacturer agreed to absorb the upfront product development cost in return for expanded share of the retail's product offerings across wider sort of categories. Benefit sharing can help to overcome difference in strategic priorities to one growth-focused manufacturer was persuaded to join a supply chain waste reduction cooperation with a retailer by establishing an agreement to deposit part of the saving both companies achieved into a joint pool, which will then be invested in effort to generate additional sales. The two companies established a joint benefit pool and agreed to use percentage of the saving to fund future cost reduction efforts and a sales improvement program. Why not seizing the opportunity to research your end supplier brand profile in the marketplace. Take Intel, for example. The laptop you're working on right now may very well have Intel inside sticker on it. That's called marketing at work. Cousin Stanley ranked as one of the world's top 100 most valuable brands by Millward Brown Optima. The largest supplier of microprocessors is well renowned for its technology and innovation. For many companies that be suppliers for Intel, the decision to co-market is strategic approach to convey that the product is reliable and provides real value for their competitive needs. Lastly, invest in the right infrastructure and fuel lack of dedicated resource as one of the top 3 reasons for the failure of the cooperation efforts. Companies frequently underestimate the resource required to make cooperation work, presuming that they can leave it up to staff in various functions to do what's required in addition to their other responsibilities. In some cases, the e-commerce system forms a significant part of the supply chain. So you need a robust system that actually increases productivity. To enhance our e-commerce strategy, we use the e-commerce agency. In practice, even relatively simple cooperation that will be more difficult than equivalent activities conducted within the fold of the organization. That's because staff must overcome difference in culture or organization and technology, not to mention the basic challenge of finding the right contact within the partner organization which form to license. To prevent this problem, best practice companies devote extra resources to their cooperation, particularly in the early stage of the new relationship. A broad infrastructure for successful cooperation begins at the top of the organization with a steering committee of senior leaders. We can set the defining vision for the cooperation efforts and allocate resources to support it. The detailed design of the cooperation program is then completed by a team comprising members of all relevant functions from both partners in the cooperation. The team for demand planning effort, for example, should include members for sales, finance, and supply chain for the manufacturer, and from purchasing, merchandising, and store operation for the retailer. This team will also be responsible for the day-to-day monitoring of the effort once it's up and running. Execution of the cooperation fall should take place within the line organization and will ultimately form part of the everyday responsibility of the staff assigned to it. The best companies avoid forcing their frontline staff to reinvent the wheel by providing strong support when establishing each new cooperation. The may, for example, leverage experience gained in previous cooperation by setting up teams to support their colleagues during the initial phase of subsequent effort.